Oh, that's wonderful. Fantastic. And we have a last minute entry for viewer suggestions, which I think is just potentially to wind me up, is that Jerboa has suggested tongue twisters as an article. Hopefully there aren't too many included. Oh, there are loads included. Whoops. Let's see how well I get through this article. A tongue twister is a phrase that is designed to be difficult to articulate properly and can be used as a type of spoken or sung word game. Additionally, they can be used as exercises to improve pronunciation and fluency. Some tongue twisters produce results that are humorous or humorously vulgar when they are mispronounced, while others simply rely on the confusion and mistakes of the speaker for their amusement value. Some tongue twisters rely on rapid alternation between similar but distinct phonemes, e.g., s and sh, combining two different alternation patterns, familiar constructs in loanwords, or other features of a spoken language in order to be difficult to articulate. For example, the following sentence was claimed as the most difficult common English language tongue twisters by William Poundstone. The seething sea seetheth, seetheth. The seething sea seetheth, seetheth. Bloody hell, I'm having such a hard... The seething sea seetheth, The seething sea seetheth, The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. Sufficeth? Sufficeth. No. Sufficeth. No. Sufficeth. Oh! The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. Yes, I got through it. The deliberately difficult expressions were popular in the 19th century. The popular seashells tongue twister was originally published in 1850 as a diction exercise. The tongue twister was first applied to this kind of expression in 1895. She sells seashells was turned into a popular song in 1908 with words by British songwriter Terry Sullivan and music by Harry Gifford. According to folk etymology, it was said to be inspired by the life and work of Mary Anning, an early fossil collector. However, Winnick was unable to find direct evidence that Anning inspired the tongue twister, nor that Sullivan was aware of this. She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. For if she sells seashells by the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore shells. Damn, I almost made it to the end of that. Another well-known tongue twister is Peter Piper. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Oh, I almost made it through that one too. I had a trip near the end. Many tongue twisters use a combination of alliteration and rhyme. These have two or more sequences of sound that require repositioning the tongue between syllables. Then the same sounds are repeated in a different sequence. An example of this is the song Betty Butter. Betty bought a bit of butter. The butter Betty bought was a bit bitter and made her batter bitter. But a bit of better butter makes the better batter, so Betty Butter bought a bit of better butter, making Betty Butter's bitter batter bitter. Mostly, I think I did okay on that one. B-. There are also twisters that make use of compound words and their stems. For example, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would? A woodchuck would chuck all the wood he could chuck if a woodchuck would. I went too slow there. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Woodchuck would chuck all the wood he could chuck if a How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck would chuck all the wood he could chuck if a woodchuck would. Hooray. You're quite alright, Jerboa. The following twister won a contest in Games magazine in 1979. Shep Schwab shopped at Scott's Schnapp shop. One shot of Scott's Schnapp stopped Schwab's watch. Some tongue twisters take the form of words or short phrases, which became tongue twisters when repeated rapidly. The game is often expressed in the form, say this phrase 3, 5, or 10 times as fast as you can. Examples include toy boat, 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 toy boat. Cricket critic, cricket critic, cricket critic, cricket critic, cricket critic. A proper copper coffee pot, 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 a proper copper coffee pot. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. I did okay on that one. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. No, Swiss wristwatch. Irish wristwatch, Swiss Irish wristwatch, Swiss. Oh, the others were way easier than this one. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. Sausages. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. No, come on, get through it once. I can't even say it one time fast. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch. Oof. If you really nail it to a pattern, you can get it. Oh yeah, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry. Peggy Babcock, Peggy Babcock, Peggy Babcock, Peggy Babcock, Peggy Babcock, Peggy Babcock. That's not one I've heard before. Some tongue twisters are used for speech practice and vocal warm-up. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. Tongue twisters are used to train pronunciation skills in non-native speakers. The sheep on the ship slipped on the sheet of sleet. Other types of tongue twisters derive their humor from producing vulgar results only when performed incorrectly. Old Mother Hunt had a rough cut punt, not a punt cut rough, but a rough cut punt. Old Mother Hunt had a rough cut punt, not a punt cut rough, but a rough cut punt. Thankfully I got that one right. How much wood would Edward Woodward add if Edward Woodward would add wood? Edward would add as much wood as Edward would add. Good one, Jimbo. Some twisters are amusing because they sound incorrect, even when pronounced correctly. Are you copper bottoming those pans, my man? No, I'm aluminiuming them, ma'am. In 2013, MIT researchers claimed that this is the trickiest twister to date. Pad kid poured curd, pulled cod. 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 It's enormously easy. MIT. Work harder. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch is way harder than pad kid poured curd, pulled cod. Brap. Linguistics of tongue twisters. Phonemes. Based on the MIT confusion matrix of 1,620 single phoneme errors, the phoneme with the greatest margin of error in speech is L mistaken for R. Other phonemes that had a high level of speech error include S mistaken for sh, F for P, L for R, and R for L, and W for R, and many more. These sounds are more likely to transform into a similar sound when placed near a vicinity of each other. Most of these mix-ups can be attributed to the two phonemes having a similar area of articulation in the mouth. The W for R substitution happens all over the place in southern England. Pronunciation difficulty is also theorized to have an effect on tongue twisters. For example, T is thought to be easier to pronounce than ch. As a result, speakers may naturally transform ch into t when trying to pronounce certain tongue twisters. Fortis and lenis. Fortis and lenis are the classifications of strong and weak consonants. Some characteristics of strong consonants include high frequency in a language, earlier development in language acquisition, lower placement on the phonological hierarchy. It is common for more difficult sounds to be replaced with strong consonants in tongue twisters. This is partially determinant of which sounds are more likely to transform to other sounds with linguistic confusion. Related concepts include shibboleths. Shibboleth, that is, the phrase in a language which are difficult for someone who is not a native speaker of that language to say, might be regarded as a type of tongue twist. An example is Georgian Bakadi Tishkali ki iknebs, the frog croaks in the water, in which q apostrophe is a uvular ejective. Another example, the Czech and Slovak sturchprst sturkkirk, stick a finger through the throat, is difficult for a non-native speaker due to the absence of vowels. Although the syllabic R is a common sound in Czech, the Slovak, and some other Slavic languages. The sign language equivalent of a tongue twister is called a finger fumbler. According to Susan Fisher, the phrase good blood, bad blood is a tongue twister in English as well as a finger fumbler in ASL. One-syllable article. One-syllable article is the form of Mandarin tongue twister written in classical Chinese. I imagine this is like the 10 stone lions. Due to Mandarin Chinese having only 4 tonal ranges compared to 9 in Cantonese, for example, these works sound like a work of one syllable in a different tonal range when spoken in Mandarin, but are far more comprehensible when spoken in another dialect. 10 stone lions, which is like, I don't know the exact thing, obviously, because I don't speak Mandarin, but it's like sh 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 sh, and it's like 10 stone lions used to live in a stone cave, sort of thing. Popular culture. In 1951, Danny Kaye recorded a Sylvia Fine song titled Tongue Twisters. The children's book by Dr. Seuss or Dr. Seuss contain a significant number of tongue twisters, with Oh Say Can You Say and Fox and Socks being the most extreme cases. In 1952, Singin' in the Rain movie star Don Lockwood uses tongue twisters such as Peter Piper while learning proper diction so he can make the transition from silent films to talkies. In 1920s Hollywood, he also turns one of them, Moses Supposes His Toes Are Roses, into a song and dance number along with his best friend Cosmo Brown, played by Donald O'Connor. In 1968, Jack Webb guested on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and took part in a parody of Dragnet. The premise was Webb, as Sergeant Joe Friday, grilling Carson about a kleptomaniac Claude Cooper from Cleveland, who copped clean coppers, clappers kept in a closet. It became one of the most famous sketches in the show's history and was regularly shown on anniversary specials. In the cartoon episode You Said a Mouseful from Pinky and the Brain, both Pinky and Brain go through a collage of tongue twisters that cover almost every category possible. In the TV series BoJack Horseman, contains increasingly convoluted tongue twisters as the show progresses. Oh yeah, Princess Carolyn always does this. The lines often delivered by Princess Carolyn, and a notable set involves the actress Courtney Portnoy, for example. How would you enjoy joining Portnoy for a scorched soy porterhouse pork 4-courser at Koi, followed by glorify your source, but I don't make it feel forced, of course, and try the borscht? The party game Kamba presents an illustrated tongue twisters on cards and challenges players to repeat them faster and faster. Players also pass cards and simultaneously combine tongue twisters with body twisters, awkward physical actions, to create entertaining confusion. In the 1991 film Oscar, gangster Schnaps Provolone failed to say a tongue twister sentence that not related to his criminal business, saying, "Round the rough and rugged rocks, the ragged rascal rudely ran." Conversely, he could say with ease another one that much related to his business by saying, "Rocco the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum running receipts." In the rap scene from the 21st century, many examples of tongue twisters can be found. Most commonly used is Pied Piper, as seen on Kendrick Lamar's verse on Travis Scott's popular song Goosebumps. Wonderful. It doesn't actually. It's funny that it talks about shibboleths, but doesn't talk about the actual biblical verse from which we get shibboleth. Right. Which one did I really struggle with? Let's try that one again. Oh yeah, the first one. The seething sea ceaseth. The seething sea ceaseth. No. The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth. No. The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth. No. I want to do this one before I wrap up. Come on. Yeah, no mention of the two Ronnies either, Jerboa. The seething sea ceaseth. No. The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. No. The seething sea ceaseth. No. The seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. Seething sea ceaseth, and thus the seething sea sufficeth us. Hurrah! And that brings us, lovely, to 5 o'clock. Thank you very much for that, Jaboa. I certainly had fun. Hopefully you all enjoyed watching me squirm.